talk about the current state of crisis on our southern border and a few other topics tonight with former New York State Senator, Democratic strategist David Carlucci, and former Deputy Assistant Attorney General John Yoo. Welcome to you both, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us.
Shannon.
Okay, I want to play something from Congressman Henry Cuellar, Democrat out of Texas.
You can't say we have a pandemic or a public health issue here, but then say everything's fine at the border and then lift the Title 42, which is a health order. You just can't have both. Certainly right now, the cartels are looking at Title 42. The moment they lift that, you're going to start seeing a lot more people coming across.
That is the cautionary message we're getting from a lot of folks who are lawmakers and people who live along the border down there in Texas. He's a Democrat. We want to put up here, we now have 37 House members who are Democrats and 11 Democratic senators who are saying this is not a good time to get rid of Title 42. John, will that influence the White House?
I don't think so, because what the Biden administration is doing is not just repealed Title 42, but it's also pursued a lot of the failed policies, I think, from the Obama administration, refusing to carry out the immigration laws. And in fact, these are sending messages to people to try to enter the United States at an even faster rate. The basic function of a nation state is to control the borders and control your territory. We see tens of thousands of Ukrainians dying for that very principle. I think we do need to have immigration reform. I'd be in favor of having more legal immigration, but you can't even have that debate until you do the job of securing the borders. And I'm afraid the Biden administration's policies are having the very reverse effect of securing the border.
And David, listen, the numbers don't lie. These are coming from nonpartisan government agencies that simply report the numbers, and they have skyrocketed over the last year or two. And they say essentially they're along the border, the folks working there, that the message is to these cartels and smugglers who, people put their lives in their hands and don't always make it, that under this administration, things are going to be treated differently. You are going to be, taken to the interior of this country. You're going to be released. And we know that not everybody shows up for their court dates. But the numbers are that's just data. Those are hard numbers.
Well, the data also shows that we have a record number of people being apprehended trying to cross the border under Biden's leadership. And look, Title 42 is a 1944 public health law that's meant to stop the spread of contagious disease. It's not an immigration policy, and we can't be using it as that. And Biden is going to have to repeal Title 42 because of multiple reasons. The first reason, it's the right thing, it's the humane thing to do. People are desperate, and what they're doing is they're illegally crossing because there's not an option to file asylum status. And if you're put in that position where you're fleeing your country, your home, you're doing whatever it takes to get out of there, and you come to the border and you have no recourse, what are you going to do? So that's what's happening, and I believe that's why we see record numbers. The other issue is that just like the mask mandate that has been overturned and, Fauci's all upset about, the same thing's going to happen with Title 42, because you can't continue to do this when the public health risk has diminished. It's unjust, it's inhumane, and I think Biden is doing the right thing by looking to repeal this.
Yeah, it's been responsible for turning away, I think, hundreds of thousands of people from the border in recent years. And so we'll have to see what happens in May if he goes ahead with the plan to lift it. In the meantime, the president has other things to worry about, potentially, because there's news on Hunter Biden. The New York Post, and its headline, says that Joe Biden met with Hunter Biden business partner at the White House. Says his closest business partner, Hunter's, made at least 19 visits to the White House and other official locations between 2009 and 2015, including a sit down with then Vice President Joe Biden in the West Wing. Visitor logs from the White House of former President Barack Obama, reviewed by the Post, cast further doubt over Joe Biden's claims that he knew nothing of his son's dealings. David, I'll let you take that one first.
Well, look, Hunter Biden is not running for office. He's never run for office. He's not elected. And there's just this deep obsession with the Republicans on Hunter Biden. The reality is that, look, these are meetings that happened. It's public information. Now the Post has made a big deal of it, and the White House will respond and provide information, a little bit more information about what those meetings were to put it in context. Because obviously, right, it can look suspicious. It can look a little out of the ordinary about these multiple meetings. But look, it's a public record. You have the ability to go in and meet with people, and the president, the vice president, and his team meet with many different people. So I think this is something that is just being sensationalized, and you see that really the Republicans are just bent on once they take a majority to put subpoena power in place and do everything they can to just go after Hunter Biden. Meanwhile, you have former President Trump, who is now in contempt, and nobody's really talking about that because he's not upholding the AG's request.
Okay, I'm sorry. I want to make sure I get John in here for a final viewpoint from him, because, listen, I can remember before when the New York Post was accused of sensationalizing things. That turned out to be not exactly sensational. Quick final word to you on this.
Look, there's nothing wrong, obviously, with the friend of the vice president coming to visit the White House, but for the fact that he works at a business that is receiving money from people linked to the Chinese Communist Party and other foreign governments. Let me just say, the United States Justice Department has investigated and prosecuted not just office holders, but family members when they receive money from businesses. I'm not saying that anything untoward happened, but we don't know yet. This is going to be more material for the U.S. attorney in Delaware to investigate. And if he won't do it, then you might want to think about a special counsel in the Justice Department like Durham, who's protected from removal in some way and interference by higher up, so you can really get an independent federal prosecution investigation of this.
Yeah, and David, like you said, the White House may release information that would be helpful for us all to understand. So we'll stand by. David and John, thank you both.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shannon.
All right, I was over at the Supreme Court this morning as the justices heard arguments about whether or not a former high school football coach should lose his job over his commitment to pray on the 50-yard line after every game. I'll take you inside the high-profile case next.